and welcome to RVN Prime. This is our Women in Business series for the month of October, and I'm so happy and pleasure to be interviewing these fabulous women guests. These are movers and shakers and hustlers and just women that make it happen. And we have with us today for Women in Business, Miss Jennifer Sherlock of Jenna Communications. You're the president of Jenna Communications, correct?
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Nice to meet you.
So I always like to learn about my guests' stories of how they kind of evolved into becoming a president of a communications company. So talk to me about your story.
Sure. So it started when I was younger in high school. A teacher said I'd be good at communications. She was my biology teacher. It was my sophomore year. And I remember asking my mom, what is communications? And she's like, oh, you know, when you see anchors on TV, that is basically considered communications. And my mind lit up actually though, because I've kind of always wanted to be, you know, in the limelight per se. So I thought it fit me, and I did my college essay going into, you know, any school I could get into, but I went to Villanova on being the next Barbara Walters.
Okay.
So it's funny, like going back to that time, I was very focused on communications and being in TV. And then at Villanova, I couldn't take any communication classes till junior, senior year. So I was really anxious. I was one of those students that just couldn't wait to get ahead and just start doing internships and working. And I couldn't wait. Like, I didn't want to take math and religion and all of those liberal arts courses they make us take.
Yeah.
And then, so by junior year, when it finally came, I had an internship at Channel 6. And then Channel 17, my senior year. Both were different. Channel 6, I made sure I wasn't on the desk. I asked to not be an intern that gets coffee and that sort of thing. So, yeah, and I went out with Anita Brickman at the time. She was the health anchor. And I learned a lot, and I did stand-ups. I wasn't confident, but I knew it's what I wanted to do.
Right.
And then Channel 17, I was told you could actually learn how to edit, and that's very important when you're starting out, and touch the equipment, and it was the only non-union station in Philadelphia. So I went that route, and you know, I had a lot of mentors at the time that pushed me, and I got a job out of college at NBC 40. That's a funny story. I know we don't have a ton of time, but
tell us. I'd like to hear
this
it.
is a funny story.
Okay.
For anyone that's like afraid that they can't go after their dreams and then it actually happens. So every time I went to the shore, I kept dropping off tapes at NBC 40, and they were always pushing me away. So my parents at the time had a shore house in Stone Harbor, and I would just go down in a suit. I would have gone anywhere, Idaho, Kentucky, but I wanted to stay around here. So I just kept going unannounced and dropping my tape, and the assistant at the desk would say, push it away and say, no unsolicited tapes. You have to leave.
Okay.
But then finally, I guess it worked. So at the end of August, my first summer out of school, I got a call from the general manager, acting news director at the time. And she was like, come in, like, you're not going away.
That's persistence.
Yeah.
That matters.
Yeah, so it's funny. So I went in, and then I did well in the interview. So she hired me as a reporter on the spot, which is like unheard of.
Oh,
so I was like, dreams do come true, right?
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
What
And
were
then
you reporting on?
it gets better though. So she called me back 2 weeks later, and she was like, so I was starting after Labor Day, and she said, you know, you can't report, you're terrible, like your tape was awful. She never looked at my tape, so she just hired me based on the interview. I know, so this is the funny story. So then she said, well, she'll start me on the assignment desk and train me, and she was true to her word. Within a couple months, I was also still bugging to go out on the street. I did report, which turned into me being an anchor 6 months later. But the funny part is, you know, it didn't work out the way I wanted, and the assignment desk for anyone in communications, I even tell the girls that work for me that it's the best training ground, because you can see like the hustle of a story, the urgency, like what's newsworthy, what's not.
Yeah.
So I have no regrets. But anyway, long story short, I went from TV, I went to Fox in Harrisburg for 3 years because I needed live truck experience. So I did that.
What were you doing for Fox?
Reporter, and then also morning anchor, the same sort of thing. And I was out covering like Harrisburg. It was basically like Lancaster County, York County, Dauphin County. There were 5 counties, Mifflin County, Cumberland County. It was all central PA. And I did the same, and I never thought I'd get out of TV. If you would have asked me like 10 years ago, I would have said no. But I wanted to live in Philly, and my sister was a lawyer. I convinced her to move to the city. I just left Fox on my own.
You did.
And then I tried out for a traffic, well, I wanted to do TV reporting like I was doing.
Yes.
But the news director at the time at Channel 3 told me, you know, I had to pay my dues. So like,
Yeah.
I feel like nowadays you don't have to pay your dues as much,
Yeah.
which bothers us. They're coming from the biz.
Yeah.
But at the time you still needed to pay your dues. And so she made me do traffic, which I was terrible at. Like, I like telling stories, and
Yeah.
I didn't like it. Like you see all these girls now that love it. No, it's not fun to. I like to talk to people, learn from people, understand them, where they come from, bond with them, and yeah. So it wasn't for me. But during that time period, because I was a fill-in traffic anchor, I was also doing this internet TV startup, which launched in New York City, and I met this guy who was launching a new media product called Idea Blob, and they brought me in, and that's when I made the switch to PR. It was double what I was making in TV, as you know, the business. Yeah. And it was very entrepreneurial, which in turn was the best thing I ever did because it led me to my own business. And I realized I was good at it. It's just like being on TV, but you're telling a story on a different side. So I actually get a high from it. I've had my business 8 years, so I get a high from it because every time I get them on national news or local TV, like I know it's for me, even though I do miss a little bit of TV, but not enough, I guess. Like if there was an ideal opportunity to do it like once a week, which doesn't really exist,
how old are you?
I would. 38.
Oh, you're still young.
Yeah, I mean, I never say never, but I like having my own business and building it. It's hard, but I do enjoy the process. So it's very strange how things, I guess,
well, as you mature and as you experience, you may be interested in different things, and then it's just kind of following what you think is the best thing for you. So believe it or not, we have to go to a commercial break.
Okay.
So thanks for telling your stories, how you got here, and when we get back, I really want to talk about what you do and about Jenna Communications, okay?
Thank you.
All right, stay tuned. We'll be right back for Women in Business.
Today's show is brought to you by Liberty Mutual. Liberty stands by you.
Hi, I'm Reagan McGee with Liberty Mutual Insurance. I know there are a lot of things that are important to you right now, and insurance should be one of them. Accidents can be scary, but calling your agent shouldn't be. Call me today for a free, no obligation quote, and we can review your coverage needs and hopefully save you some money. Call me at 609-410-3184. Stay safe.
Hello and welcome back to RVN Prime. My name is Krista Smold. I'm hosting a series called Women in Business, and we're back here with Jennifer Sherlock, and she's the president of Jenna Communications. And we just learned that you spent a lot of time in television. You thought that you were going to be the next Barbara Walters, and that's what you wanted to do. Not that you couldn't have, but you sort of changed directions and found a PR opportunity. So talk to me about how you got into PR and then what Jenna Communications is.
Sure. So that one job I was referencing when I made the switch from TV, I was at Advana Bank, and I was a part of the innovation team. So we would travel the country, put on events. I would get PR at all these events, and we would give away $10,000 to the business owner with the best idea as voted online. We had an online community called ideablob.com. So it was really cool. And that's when I got like a bug for it. I loved it, and I loved getting my boss on national news, and when we did these events, getting the news in all these different cities come out. So that's when I knew I loved it. And then Facebook was becoming bigger. This is like 2008, 2009, and I was putting, like, every time I got my boss on national news on Facebook, and people locally were like, hey, can you do that for me? And I had an LLC that I created in 2007. This was 2009, but I had basically 2 clients before I was laid off in 2009.
Oh, good.
So these 2 guys I knew started, they sold their company to Oracle for like $180 million. So they were opening bars in the city and all kinds of things. They were my first client. It's called the Franklin Mortgage and Investment Company. It's a speakeasy. It's still in Philly. And and I loved it. So I was doing that on the side at Advana, but we all kind of knew it was coming.
Yeah. Now, what do you remember thinking, like, I'm really good at this and I'm doing it because I heard you say I liked getting my boss. At what point did you think, like, I can do this myself?
That was it. So after that first client, I did like their media VIP night, and I was getting them press. That's when I knew. And that was a very small check at the time. It's probably $1,500, but I mean, I felt rich in a way that, like, I knew I could do it on myself. Yes. And I took a picture of the check and everything. So that was really the turning point. But then that first year I did have some side jobs from like when I was laid off till like 2010. Then I was fully on my own in 2010. But and then I've employed people over the years. It's definitely a whole different animal.
I was on their website and I saw a list of clients. You have a lot of clients.
Yeah, that's clients over the years. I'm actually getting a new website, but yeah, it's a lot of clients. And my new website should look better because now it is that old drop down right now. But yeah, I mean, I've had big malls. I've had a $450 million recruiting company. I've had Venmo, which is big now. I've had football teams. I go to the Super Bowl with a client. I go to the All-Star game with them, Major League Baseball. So we do a ton of cool stuff. The pitching and the PR is the fun stuff, but the contracts and all that.
Like What do
I
you-
have an assistant too, but yeah, I try to gear them to have the relationships that I have, because I always say to them, like, they know me, but I want them to know you. And unfortunately, I can't do everything, because I'm doing most
Even
of
though you
it.
probably want to sometimes,
I
right?
do.
Yeah.
It's just I have to do the sales and, you know, make sure I can make payroll and do the QuickBooks and do the contracts. So that's the not fun stuff.
Right. What do you like most about owning your own business?
The freedom, that's it. Because there's a lot of stress, a ton of stress. And you have to deal with people not paying you, and it's definitely a lot, but I would say the freedom, you know, if I want to go to the gym in the morning, afternoon, or create my own schedule or make extra time like I'm doing today, I can do it. So that's the best part.
And you are you married with children?
I'm not. I've always put career first. I do want
Okay.
at least one. If you would have asked me when I was little, I would have told you 4 kids, but now I would say 1.
I'm telling you, you don't want 4 kids.
How many do you have?
But I have 2.
2.
But, you
That's
know, I
enough.
don't want any
Yeah.
more. But you know what? You've taken a good path because you're set up now. Like you said, you have the freedom. So when you
Right.
do make that move, and if you don't, fine. But you put your career first so that you're ready for when that time arrives.
Exactly. That's what I always thought in my head. I could possibly work from home and just have the girls in the office, or I should say girls and guys. I've hired men over the years, but right now I just have
I was
girls.
going to ask you that. So
Yeah.
is it primarily women? in your
Right now,
organization?
it's hard to find men. I had 1 male worker with me for 3 years. We're still close. I wish I kept him in hindsight, but he went to Geico to do PR. He was awesome, but other than that, I don't really have many men come into the office. I mean, sometimes as interns, but it's really rare. It must be just a female-dominated field.
Do you think women can handle more?
I think so. It's stressful. I think PR is super stressful because you're getting mostly no's and clients are paying you to get yeses. So it's a super high stressful job, and you know, once you're doing it, it's like you can get them one thing, but they want a lot. Clients demand a lot from you, and they want all your time, and it's hard because you want to do a good
Are
job.
you dealing directly with your clients?
I do.
All of them.
All
So
of
if
them.
there's
I'm
a
the
problem, they're
face-to-face.
calling you.
Yeah, like I do with the contracts, and if they have an issue of any sort. And I'm actually getting mentoring now from the Wharton SBDC. I know you had asked me that.
Yes.
I did my business plan there in 2009, actually, when I worked at Advanta. They paid for that.
Oh, nice.
But I'm still friends with the 2 professors, and they still teach there. It's called strategic business planning, and anyone can do it. It's just a cost. And but now he gave me the opportunity to have his first year Wharton MBA students to do consulting for me. So I'll be like a client to them,
Wonderful.
but I'm getting free advice. So I actually have to go there later, but I enjoy it because they're trying to help me tweak my contracts and referral agreements and look at my financials and see like what price packages I could offer. So I recommend that for anyone, any entrepreneur, because anyone can do it. People seem to think that you need to go to Wharton or something, but you don't. It's separate. It's funded separately by the state.
And but Wharton is the one that's teaching you this.
Yeah,
right?
and
So
the
it's like,
teachers have to have gone to Wharton to teach.
oh, so that's the best. I mean, that's the
It
best
is.
of the best.
It is, yeah.
So Jenna Communications is how big? How many employees do you have?
3 right now. I go up and down, and then we hire a lot of subcontractors. Like, for example, we don't do websites, or we don't do graphics, or we don't do like SEO. So then we have subcontractors that we pay to do those things. So, but they're not full-time employees. So it just really depends on the project, I would say.
So you said you're working on this business plan and tweaking it. So what is next for Jenna Communications and Jennifer Sherlock?
I mean, I would love to be bi-coastal and have an office in California one day. I don't know if that'll happen. So California and Philadelphia would be awesome. Like, it doesn't have to be LA, but I would say, you know, LA, San Diego, somewhere on the West Coast. And then, I mean, I would love to do TV again, but like I said, in an ideal world, I don't know if it exists, like once or twice a week. I love it, but I don't think, like never say never, but I don't care to do it full time. I enjoy building the business, but I wouldn't mind doing it like once or twice a week if that exists.
Well, you
but-
never know. Just like the opportunity for PR came to you. I mean, as long as you're open and talking to people, you never know what can come up.
That's true, and we can also create our own content. So that's another
Yes.
thing. Like I do these PR tips, and I can do them on my phone. I shoot them at mynewphilly.com if I can, but if I'm busy, we'll just shoot them on my phone. And nowadays, that's the luxury we have. So
It is. I mean, the video is where it's at. And I mean, you see people in the mall doing a video because of the technology we have. It's really easy to
it's
create that stuff.
amazing, and I think it's important for your own branding to do Facebook Live and to do your own videos. Just even if you have a luxury of a studio like this, like being able to do it yourself just shows your confidence and your credibility, and that people watch you and like you. Because then you get the
Absolutely.
engagement on social media.
Yeah, people do business with you at
Yeah.
the end of the day, right?
Exactly, if they like you.
Yeah, well, you seem like you'd be a wonderful woman to do
Uh,
business with.
thank
and
you,
You're
you too.
absolutely beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. You too.
Sure. Okay, so that's actually the end of our segment.
Thank you so much for
joining
having
me.
me. It was
I had
awesome.
a great time. And RVN TV fans, make sure you keep tuning in to RVN Prime because we're going to be having women in business all throughout the month of October. Have a great week.